Gentleman from Rhode Island, who's been a leader in this area for some time, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you and the ranking member, as well as Chairman Wilson, for the time and attention that you and the committee have put into focusing on cyber. And Mr. Secretary and Admiral and Ms. Taverson, I want to thank you for your testimony here today. I think that the discussion we've been having on imposing costs on our enemies and adversaries is critically important. And I'm not going to ask a question on this today, but I will say that I know the committee, and certainly I'm going to pay a lot of attention on this. We are looking for specifics about what those costs being imposed on our enemies and adversaries will be. I know the American people are looking for answers on this, because right now, up until now, our enemies, adversaries have been eating our lunch for a long time, especially when it comes to cyber espionage, especially when it comes to things like defense contractors over the years. And I know we've gotten better, and we've had the DIB pilot in place now and the follow-on program that has done a better job of defending our defense contractors and the like. But imposing costs on our enemies and adversaries has to be an important part of the equation, and they have to know what it is. I know some of our responses may be classified, but others we need to make public so that our enemies know, or adversaries know, that they can't operate with impunity, which is what really is happening right now. It's like the Wild West out there, and they're on the better side of the equation. We've got to flip that so we have better outcomes on our side. Let me just turn to another topic. Do you believe, and Mr. Secretary, we'll start with you, that there is an effective accountability mechanism in place for reported cybersecurity breaches at defense contractors? And could you describe to us the process by which contractors are held accountable?
Congressman, I do believe we have an effective means. We're getting better. We've established our own scorecard. This has been one of CIO Halverson's top jobs, so I'd ask him to answer the question with more specifics.
Thank you, sir. As you mentioned, sir, we actually have improved the DIB process, which brings and gives the companies better ability to share data with us. It protects them and gives them some protection when they share that data with us. That has been very successful. We've also improved our ability working with industry to look at the supply chain risk management. I won't go into everything we've done there, but what basically we've done is we're sharing it, and we are putting some systems in place with industry to be able to see that data better. We have now included working very much with industry to include now language that's in all IT and cyber contracts that requires certain levels of security and reporting. All of those things are beginning to show results, and one way that we impose cost on them is to raise our basic level of cyber defense and make them play much higher to play the game. And the things we are doing, I believe we are now starting to see some effects in that area about who isn't playing as much anymore and what they're having to pay to play.
Thank you. So I've been examining the practices and techniques in the financial sector is using to determine and address the cyber risks of their contractors and vendors, and in many ways they are way out ahead of what the government is doing. To what degree have you cribbed from civilian sector best practices?
Sir, very much so, and I would say that we share a lot. In the financial sector in particular, they've just published some new standards about what they expect from their vendors. If you looked at what they wrote and you looked at what we wrote in ours, they're very similar. That was actually a fairly collaborative effort with the financial industry. We are also doing that with other segments of industry, like the logistics companies and other things. So we are cribbing a lot from industry. I spend a lot of time on our mobility policy. You will see that as that comes out, that will be completely, again, written with industry playing right from the beginning to help us get those pieces right so that we get the advantage of effectiveness and efficiency while we are using industry practices to raise the level of the security.
Thank you. Can you describe for us the Department's progress on the creation of persistent training environments of the type and scale necessary to conduct group and collective training, rehearse missions at the unit level, as well as integrate and exercise the full spectrum of national, state, local, and private sector capabilities?
So we identified that as a core enabler for us to build the vision to actually create the capability we think we need. In fact, this is one Deputy Secretary Work and I worked directly on this, where I said, hey, boss, I could use some more help here in fiscal year 15. He was kind enough to generate additional funds for us. We've created a capability down in Suffolk, Virginia. In fact, we have been using it now every year with the Guard and the interagency to look at how we can model different scenarios where DoD would be applying capabilities to support critical infrastructure. In addition, we generated a capability at the Fort Meade area that we can increasingly port out across the framework for us. This has been a big investment area. You see it in the 16 budget as well, and we thank you for your support for that.
And in our PB17 build, Congressman, Secretary Carter has again, defense of the networks is number one. Improving training is right up there. So this is going to have a very, very high level of attention from the top down.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.